And we are going to be talking about fucking Disney. That's what we are. We went to,
we're full. And then they were like,
Lola,
So, yeah, man, today
we are going to be talking about MegaCon.
yeah, I love
Yeah, but who the hell cares about wildlife anyway?
right.
And we are going to be talking about... Guys, welcome to the Nerd Archive podcast. Today we don't have Yadi. Yadi had a family emergency, so it's going to be Justin, Lola, and myself, Lewis. And today we're going to be talking about the WWDC 2023 from Apple. Everything they talked about, what we are most excited about, or what do we think that's showing Apple's normal way of doing things, overprice everything. And for sure. So, but before we get started, I have oh crap. I didn't have hold that thought. Pause.
Technical difficulties.
Pause.
it's too early for that, guys. Come on.
Yeah. I know what you're looking for.
Yeah, the previously on.
Ryan in the chat.
It happens, bro. It happens.
Here we go, starting off strong.
Very strong. And I had it too. It was great.
That is what it is. Well, while you're waiting, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And then join us on all of our social platforms where we have all kinds of more, even more cool, nerdy shit.
Fantastic.
What was the website name again? Oh, yeah, that's right. thenerdarchive.com. The sophisticated gentleman in the chat. This streaming is so professional.
Hey, listen. Hey, man.
Oh yeah. We are the epitome of professionalism, sir. Ah. Well, thank you very much for that for that comment. It's all good. Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
All right.
Give it a little bit and you will. I mean, you're only on episode 17, so you've got a little ways to go, but you'll make it.
All right. And now with the previously on with Ryan. Maybe.
What's going on, nerds? This is Ryan. Previously on the Nerd Archive podcast, Lola once again stretches her lead on the nerdy quote game, this time with quotes from Harry Potter. I personally think Lewis should have been deducted 5 points for answering Hermione in the second Harry Potter movie. The nerds talked about the PlayStation Showcase. We all know PlayStation is the best way to play video games. though Justin prefers gaming laptops. Speaking of Justin, he said he's tired of the zombie shit, though he's excited for the new Resident Evil game. Zombie hypocrite. Lewis chooses resurrection as a superpower, while Justin and Yadi choose lightning bending, though being susceptible to it. So today, if they talk like this, you'll know why. And lastly, we learn about my new favorite actor, Larry Fishburne. Lewis blames his Hispanic culture for him not being able to pronounce names correctly. I didn't know that was a trait that Mexicans have. Anyways, let's see what the nerds get into this week.
Thank you, Ryan, for those kind words.
Oh
yes,
my
that
God.
is something Mexicans have a problem with. Okay. And before we get started with the nerdy quote of the week, which this week is going to be an exhibition game, since Yadi's not here, and I don't think it would be fair that we get points and he doesn't, or I get point and or I don't get any points. It is
We
what
know
it
how
is.
much you don't want to be in last place.
No, well, I'm already in last place. It is.
That's
what it
why I
is.
said that.
Lice
Yeah.
place.
Listen, Mexican.
Nerds don't words good.
Nope. So we have the sophisticated gentleman in the chat, and we have Ryan. So welcome, dudes.
Welcome
Welcome in.
aboard.
And with that being said, Justin, please take it away.
That's right, everybody. Time once again to test the host nerdy knowledge with this week's nerdy quote of the week. We have an exhibition this week because due to some unforeseen circumstances, one of our hosts is unfortunately missing in action. So no points will be awarded with this. So yeah, let's get straight down to it. This one is Marvel themed. So we're going back to Marvel this week. And here we go. Vengeance has consumed you. It is consuming them. I am done letting it consume me.
I am glad I'm not getting points out of this one.
Mhm.
Vengeance has consumed you. I already forgot. Say it again.
Vengeance has consumed you. It is consuming them. I am done letting it consume me.
Can you say Marvel?
Yes.
Ryan, go fuck yourself. I'm going with Iron Man.
Oof.
Is that what you were gonna choose?
Sure. You do you, man. You're doing great.
No, I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic.
All right. So we're starting this off with Lewis. You said
Iron Man and Age of Ultron.
okay. Iron Man
It's
and
the
Age of
least that I
Ultron.
watched, so I'm going with that one because I don't know.
I gotcha. Lola.
It is Black Panther and it is Civil War.
Okie dokie. That is Lola's guess. All right. So that quote was stated by Prince T'Challa in Captain America Civil War.
God damn it. 0 points for Lewis. Fantastic.
Good thing that this was an exhibition. I mean, I'm
I
not.
was gonna say, can you do this like next time when we do have points? Because I need more. The first time I get 2 points in one go.
No, you've gotten 2 points at least a couple of times.
Oh.
But yeah, no. So yeah, Lola got both correct, and so yeah, that does it for this week's nerdy quote of the week. And now moving on to our feature presentation. Take it away.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. I hate this game. Whoever created this game, I hope
You're gonna lose your nerd pass by the end of the season.
feels
I
like
think I
it.
already did that.
Hey, there's still time to turn it around, so don't. We don't need that
Turn
negativity.
around. All right. With that being said, we are here to talk about the WWDC from 2023. Apple, what the hell are you thinking? Just kidding. I liked a couple of things that they talked about, such as new features coming from iOS, Mac OS, iPad OS, and the new Vision OS. We're gonna talk about that at the end of the episode, since that was the last thing that they talked about, and it's something brand new to everybody, really, because it's something that we would see in movies, and now by the end of or by beginning of next year, it's going to be a
Mhm.
reality. So,
Oh yeah.
no pun intended. And all right, so the new iOS. Go ahead.
Before we get too deep into this, I just wanted to make one real quick point. To sophisticated gentlemen in chat, chat participation for the nerdy quote isn't a thing. It's pretty much just for the hosts so that they can't get hints from the chat. So just going forward.
Sophisticated Jaman, you fucked it up. Just how I fucked up your name. It's fine. It is what it is. All right, so going into the new features, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. No, you're good. It's not. You had no way of knowing, so it's fine.
You did. You sent it after. So iOS 17 is coming out, and so they did something. Actually, I was watching it yesterday, and as soon as yes, Ryan, I can use all the help I can get. It's still gonna lose. So I was watching the showcase yesterday and a rerun. If a lot of people don't even know what that is. I saw the new features for iOS 17 and how the beta was going live, and they talked about that, how the beta was going to go live, but it's not supposed to go live until September. But it was live yesterday until like
really
it was until like 11 o'clock, and they realized, and the ones that updated their phones have it, but the ones that didn't get to it don't have it. A couple things that they mentioned was little things such as now they changed the menu in the text messages. You used to have all your stickers and apps that you can use with the text messages. Now they put them hidden. There's like a little arrow that you click and they all pop up, which is it's good because it's like more minimalistic,
streamlined.
Right. So one thing they added to the stickers was that now you can actually use pictures, your own pictures, and make them stickers. One thing that they added to iOS 16 was that you can hold a picture and it'll take the background off. And it's pretty like it's pretty good taking the background off. It doesn't look weird. But now because you can do that when you're creating your own stickers, you hold the picture and it takes the background off, and it'll ask you if you want to create a sticker with that. So that's pretty cool that you can do that. It's simple things that it's more for they're user friendly, more personalized things that you can use. Also, one thing that they added to both calls and voice or FaceTime.
Fuck you, Ryan. I have Android and I don't really give a shit.
Yes. Justin's the only one that doesn't have iPhone. So he was a little when I said, "Hey, let's talk about the iPhone showcase, the Apple showcase," he was like, "Come on, man."
Yeah, no, I put the vomit emoji in our chat, but honestly, I'm not as much of a hater as people think. It's mainly for theatrics. Like I don't care what I really don't care what anyone else uses. My only gripe is which has pretty much been since for a while is the price they charge you for what you get, and I'm just like I'm not willing to pay what they're asking for.
Yeah, it's people like what they like. It is what it
And
is.
that's and I completely understand that. And that's the thing though. It's like and that's the beauty of the world we live in. There's so much there's so much choice that you have as far as technology and other things of that nature. And like I said, people like you said, people are going to like what they like.
Right. It's like Apple and Android is it's like PlayStation and Xbox. You like what you like, and some people don't like the other one just because they like theirs. But it is what it is. So going back to the features on the calls and the FaceTime is that you used to get a transcript every time that you got a voicemail on the calls, but now you can actually see the transcripts going live as they're leaving you the voicemail.
Oh yeah.
And you can also jump in the call as they're leaving the voicemail, like what voicemails used to be in landlines.
Yep.
Or not used to be. There's still people that have it, but
Old school answering machines.
right. So and now people can leave you a voicemail on FaceTime. It's like
Oh, that's fun.
it's like a 30-second video. So that's something that I was wondering why they never did that. I was like, oh, they're not available. Oh, fantastic. But now you can actually leave a video voicemail. So that's pretty cool. I think that's something. I don't know if Android has that. I'm not knocking. I just want to know because there's a lot of things that Apple adds to their phones as new features, but Android's had them for a while.
Well, it could be that technology just wasn't quite there yet.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Or maybe it wasn't as important to them.
Possibly.
And there's only so much Apple can add to the iPhones, and now they're like, okay, we hit peak. Now let's focus on the small things.
General little quality of life things.
Right.
And
one thing that they added to their iOS, actually to pretty much all of them, is now you can personalize banners when people are calling you. Instead of just showing you the profile picture or just the name of who's calling you, you can pick pictures and change the font and however you want, just like how they were doing with their home screens or the lock screens.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty much the same way.
What I thought was really cool was it's like, yeah, they can, like, each individual user can pick their own picture, or I guess it's like their Apple ID or whatever. And then when they call you, that image that they choose is what shows up.
Right.
That's actually really cool. I like that.
You have two options. You can either use the picture that you have under their contact, and instead of showing up the little circle of their profile picture, it's actual full picture, not cropped out.
Right.
Or you can pick a different one for their calls, which I think it's pretty nifty. It's one of the first things I did when I downloaded the beta. Another thing that they added to the iOS was the standby mode. The standby mode is when you have it charging, and let's say your charger on MagSafe is you have it on portrait mode. It'll actually go into standby mode, and it'll show you widgets and things like that because the screen is always on. I mean, you can turn that off, but I don't. It's pretty cool to have. Sophisticated gentleman. Hold on. Android makes phones.
I like the check-in feature.
Yes, the check-in
As a
feature.
single woman, I highly enjoy that.
Tell us a little bit about it. I think that you will use that more than maybe Justin and I.
Yeah, it's basically it's kind of like sharing your location and your details and depending on who you share it with, from my understanding, right? Because I was doing other things while listening to this. It's you share your location and details and you give it a time and then like if you're traveling from one place to the other, like it'll check the traffic from where you are at and it'll let people know like, hey, there's a delay because of traffic or this is happening or whatever. And then at the same time it's kind of like a timer of like, hey, this person hasn't made it back home yet, let me check in on them. So
Right. It's a feature that it's Apple has been doing a lot of safety things lately.
yeah.
When they released their, I think, iPhone 12 and on, they were doing well, when the pandemic uh, happened, they everything that they launched had um health features to track like oxygen levels and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now, okay, that's not really a thing anymore as much. So they're moving on to other safety things, which is, I think, is pretty cool.
Yeah, another thing that I like about it is I think once you don't answer by the estimated time that you had put on the app, it'll like release all your data to the people that you sent your location to. So essentially, if something were to happen to you, they would have like your last known location, where you were going, any other details that you had sent or put on the check-in.
It'll say if your battery's dead. It'll say it'll track where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just little things like that. I think it's really good to have.
Hmm.
It's not just about tech. Apple is trying to make things happen and keep their users safe,
Yeah, it's a
which I think
safety
it's,
feature for
yeah,
sure.
right,
Like the reason why I say the whole like as a single woman, that's really good. It's because like usually if I'm having like a date or anything like that, I'll send them all the details and let them know like, hey, I'm gonna check in by this time. If not, if you don't hear of me by that time, then we've
right.
come up with what's it called,
Safe words,
phrases and safe words to send to each other if something's happening and so on
right.
and so forth.
Um, Another safety feature is that, let's say you go on a hike. That doesn't apply to any of us really, but let's say
Yeah,
we go.
I was gonna say what you're talking about.
That for our listeners, not for us. Let's say we go on a hike and you're going into the mountains. It'll tell you in your map where the closest, or where can you make calls, which antennas or towers are close by um, to make 911 calls, things like that, which is, again, safety features. And you can also, one thing that they, moving on from the safety features, and one thing that they added was now you can share your contact with by just tapping phones together. I think that's something Android had
Oh,
already, but um, that's something that it's making things easier.
mm-hmm.
Like, let's say you meet someone, or you're at work and you want to give your contact to your managers or whatever. You just tap your iPhones together, and now
Oh yeah.
you share here's the thing. I don't think that you can share yours and just yours. I think
It
it's
has to
more
be
of
back and forth.
right, which it's great because that way if someone takes your phone and tries to do that to get your contact info, you have their contact info.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much.
it can fall on the safety features somehow. Um,
I would think that this would be something that you would have to like have active or like manually like say, okay, push this button and have this feature activated. And then once you've done it and then that is finished, then that feature kind of deactivates until the next time you need to use it. Because yeah, if it's on all the time, and that means anybody with another iPhone, and I know Androids can do this as well. Samsung specifically has that on their phones. But yeah, it's a feature that you have to activate, because if it was just, like I said, on all the time, then that opens the door for somebody to come up and steal your information
Yeah.
one way or another. So
It might be something that you have to approve.
right.
Right. So that's good. I think that's it for iOS.
Mm.
If I'm missing anything, please let me know. Or if you remember something, just you can stop me at any time. One thing that I want to talk.
I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, obviously we're not going to be able to touch on everything with the time that we have. So it's
Right.
basically just kind of like the Cliff Notes version. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, right. One thing that they're going to release is the MacBook Air, and they're releasing it now. They normally release the MacBook Air 13 inches, but now they're doing 15.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It's the
I'm surprised they weren't
smallest.
doing that sooner.
Yeah, it's because they wanted to keep the 15 to the MacBook Pro. That's the way of marketing things. It's like the iPad Air was only 11 inches, but now or 10, 9.5, I think it was. And the Pro version came in 9.5 and 12. But now they're releasing the iPad Air in both. So it's also what they say is the thinnest 15-inch laptop at 11 millimeters thick, which is pretty cool.
Definitely the slimmest one I've seen so far.
Right, and they're for the first time they're releasing it in more than 2 colors. They're releasing it in 4 colors now, and
Ooh,
yeah, I know. And they've been
exciting.
talking about they've been releasing theirs. They used to be Intel chips, but now they're doing their own chips.
Yep.
With this one, this is the second generation of chips, so they're doing the M2 chip, which is up to 12 times faster than the Intel-based MacBook Air. Which, let's touch on that. Justin, you talked about this before we started, and most of their stuff that they talked about was comparing it to Intel.
Pretty much. And I mean, yeah, it's cool to say, like, yeah, it's so many times like stronger than the Intel based version of this or that or the other. And like we were talking about, like it's for us being like the tech people that we are, it's just like you're less tech savvy person it would be more interested in that. But like for us, it's just like we're looking at, like, we need to see like numbers, like really what's the performance difference between what you have now versus the comparable version that you had previously. And so it's just like I I don't know, like until we see like actual like concrete data, the catchphrases and buzzwords don't really hold a lot of weight.
Right. On their website, they actually compare it to their own chip, their previous chip, which
Yeah.
they say is 12 times faster than the Intel, but 1.4 times faster than their M1, which anything faster than the M1 it's impressive because
Oh, no doubt.
the M1 was a crazy chip. Battery life 18 hours with one single charge, in the beginning, obviously, like everything.
Pretty much, because on a long enough time period, your battery is just going to go. But that's the thing, though. It's like how much, like actual like total battery life really depends on what you're running and things like that. So it's like I would assume it's like you can say, oh, it's 18 hours of battery life. I translate that as up to 18 hours because if you're running a lot of things on there, obviously you're not going to get the full 18 hours
Right.
out of it. There's no way.
That's how they explain it. 18 up to 18. They also added a new webcam to it, which is a 1080p. It's mostly for FaceTime, and
Right.
then they added a better sound system to it, because laptops are notoriously known for having shit speakers.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, I'd have to like really hear it up close and in person to know for sure. But yeah, I mean, for the longest time, laptop audio has just been absolute trash.
I agree. Also, they're adding their MagSafe charger, which is
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did see that.
so it's better connection because it doesn't attach. It's magnetic, so it's pretty cool. They added two USB-C ports
Mm.
and a headphone jack, which none of the iPhones
Ooh.
have. So it's great.
Which now what now?
The headphone jacks. The iPhones don't have headphone jacks. They took that off.
Oh, I thought you said
Oh,
the
yeah.
iPhones have those now, and I was like,
No.
they're back.
No.
Sophisticated gentleman in the chat says, I feel like it gets worse as the laptop ages, but maybe that's just me getting older.
For sure.
And then Ryan responds, "It's your ears getting older." Now, laptop audio is naturally shit. If Apple can improve that and actually make it sound decent with the new MacBooks, I mean, I'd love, like I said, I'd have to hear it in person to see, but I'll hold out judgment until I can actually see up close what it can do.
Right. Moving on from the MacBook, the Mac Studio.
Oh yeah,
It's the smallest PC we can get, and
that
it's
little
just
box shaped one, like that's shaped like your like a NUC or an HTPC.
yeah. Currently, it's the smallest one we can get, and it's obviously running their M2, but it's running their M2 Max chip. Just quick features: 12 core CPU, up to 38 core GPU, up to 96 gigabyte unlimited unified memory, and 400 gigabyte memory bandwidth. And it also comes in a different version, the M2 Ultra.
Oh yeah, I was actually going to touch on that because it's like literally every version of their line, save for the iPhone and the iPad, actually has a variant with the M2 Ultra, which I like. I'm liking the specs on a lot of this.
Yeah, it's a 24 core CPU. The reason is because the M2 Ultra is actually two M2 cores or chips, and up to 76 core GPU. Goddamn, 192 gigabytes of unified memory. Fuck.
It's crazy. It
Mhm.
is crazy, and it's like, and as usual, the only like the big hang up for me, I mean, the performance, like the specs that when I was watching the presentation earlier today, like it is impressive. It is absolutely impressive, but the big hang up is the price and what they're charging for what you're getting, and it's just like I literally can't justify that.
Right. One thing that they added to it was 2 extra USB-C ports. Because it was running 4, now it has 6, and they actually added 2 Thunderbolt 4, which are USB-C cables, but they power also.
Mhm.
So let's say you want to, Jesus Christ, you want to connect your MacBook to it as a external, because you can do that too. You can connect your MacBook and use it as an external monitor. It'll charge your laptop.
Mhm.
It comes with a headphone jack. It-
We're talking about Mac, but we're still taking we're
Yeah.
still taking shots at the iPhone and the iPad.
Oh yeah. They have a 10 gigabyte Ethernet connection port, which that's powerful. 2 USB-A, obviously, because you got to have it.
Pretty
And
much.
an HDMI. So that's nifty.
Oh yeah.
You can connect your 27-inch 5K monitor to it. Apple, if you want to do that, if you have the money.
It's still, yeah, I was gonna say it's still that price thing. It's weird though, because that big tower that they were talking about, and this is the thing. It's like that particular tower, I think, is geared more towards like high level, like professional editing. Like studios that are uh, like the dream for us. That's pretty much is where we want to be, is having like a studio and being able to do things like professionally, things like that. So it's like this is geared towards the professional, like movie creation, game creation, things like that. And so, obviously the price point, while ridiculous, still kind of reflects that. And so, I mean, it's insane.
Well, I'm glad that you point out, or you bring up the price. Yesterday, after everything, I was watching everything. When I was watching this part that they talk about the Mac Studio.
Yeah.
I was intrigued. I want to know what the price is. So what I did is I maxed it out. I picked everything max, and it went up to $9,400. Everything maxed out, which is, I mean, obviously, you don't have to get everything maxed out to do everything that they said.
Yeah, but we're tech enthusiasts. We don't
Right. So I wanted to know.
go big or go home.
Right. I wanted to know what it would take for me to max out that thing, and it only $9,500.
Only $9,500.
But the cool thing is, what I thought it was pretty cool is that you can actually, if you wanted to, you can connect up to eight
Yep.
8K monitors and run them smoothly. That is insane, because right now, if I were to connect an 8K monitor to my computer, it'll catch on fire.
I was about to say that. Yeah. No, you
It'll definitely catch on fire, and I don't want to do that. There's obviously accessories that you can
Mhm.
add to. They didn't touch on the newer versions of their keyboard and mouse, but I know for a fact that they're going to make those a little bit better. It's running Apple Silicon, which is their latest Mac OS.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Their new ecosystem. I think didn't
right.
they? When did that start? Was that like the beginning of this year, or was that sometime last year?
That was the beginning of this year.
Gotcha.
They didn't talk about the MacBook Pros, because I'm assuming that it's pretty much a MacBook Air, but with better specs. Like,
Well, yeah,
it's
I would assume that not much has changed as far as that line goes. So it really didn't for them. It probably didn't warrant a specific section for that in particular.
yeah. I think that the only difference between the MacBook Air and the Pro is memory and the screen.
Hmm.
The screen is a little bit better. And then let's talk about the Mac Pro. The Mac Pro, 24 core CPU, 76 core GPU,
Mm-hmm.
192 gigabytes of unified memory, 800 gigabytes of memory bandwidth, up to 22 streams of 8K ProRes video playback. That is the base model of the MacBook Pro can run what the maxed out Mac Studio can do. So it's fucking insane. It's ridiculous. And you can also add you can add GPUs, you can add it's the first time that you can actually customize it. They're not, and obviously don't okay. Before you
It's
say what you're gonna say.
unusual. It's unusual for Apple.
However, you can customize it, but it's with their own parts.
Of course.
So it comes with 6 Thunderbolt, 4 2 USB-A, 2 HDMI's, 2 Ethernet 10 gigabyte ports, and a headphone jack. And with that, you can pair it with the 32-inch 6K Retina display. Jesus.
That's not
6K.
bad, but
And I'm still running
still
1440p.
ridiculous. Like $7,000 for that fucking tower.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, you can do it as either a standing tower or a rack mount design that you can lay flat as well. So they give you that.
Yep.
They at least give you that choice. I honestly thought that they were gonna like let you use like industry standard PCI Express peripherals, but
That's
obviously
funny you
it's
think
like
that.
yeah. Yeah, just when you thought Apple was going to do something cool and be a bit more consumer friendly.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Of course not.
They are updating their Apple Watch, their Watch OS also. One thing that I forgot to mention is that whole sharing your contacts with other iPhones, you can actually do it also with the watch.
Ooh,
Yeah. And it'll save onto your phone.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. One thing that they added to the iPad OS is that now they are doing, they're diving real deep into the widgets. And that's their main thing now, widgets, which is funny because Android have had widgets for the last 10 years. But now you can add widgets to your home screen or your lock screen. That's something that iPhone has been doing. I think the last iPhone did it, the latest iPhone. But now they weren't doing it with the Mac because they weren't up to date. They weren't big enough for the Mac or for the iPad and things like that. But now they updated that. So
Well, they probably could have just for ones that, like, I mean, the MacBooks and the iMacs and things like that. For them up until now, it just didn't. I don't think it made a lot of sense because not a lot of laptop and desktop form factor users really do a lot with widgets on their desktop environments.
Right.
It's nice to have, but it's just like widespread adoption. I just don't see it being a
Right.
thing yet. It's nice that they're giving us the option, but who knows?
One thing that, because I'm talking about the widgets, the Mac OS also supports the same widgets that, let's say you have a specific widget that you like to use on your iPhone. You can set them up also. The Mac OS will immediately know that you have those on your iPhone, and you don't have to download the app for you to utilize the widgets, which I think it's pretty cool that obviously their ecosystem is advanced. Let's say one thing actually, they updated their Apple TV OS. Also, you can take FaceTime calls now on your TV.
Mhm.
So what you do is, as long as your iPhone is connected to the same Wi-Fi as your Apple TV, it'll recognize that you're getting a call or a FaceTime call, and you can answer it through the TV, and you can use your camera on your phone. They actually have a dock that you can put in front of the TV, and it'll use that. And one thing that I think it was the latest version of the software, that let's say you Justin are talking to me on FaceTime,
Mhm.
and Lola comes into my frame. It'll automatically position both of us into the frame. So that's something really cool that they're adding also to the
Oh yeah,
TV OS.
that whole thing looks pretty nifty.
Hmm. So now that we're on that, this is the last thing I'm going to say before we deep dive into the Vision Pro. Which I am very intrigued because of what we do here. They updated their software. Let's say you're giving a presentation,
Mhm.
and you want your PowerPoint to be, whenever you are doing a PowerPoint and a call, the PowerPoint takes the whole screen, and all of a sudden you minimize, and you as the presenter are not there as important as your presentation anymore.
Mm.
So what it does is it'll separate you from your background, and it'll put your presentation between you and your background. And you are still there, and your presentation is behind you. And right now they're doing it with Zoom and another app, but I wonder if you can do it, if they're going to, when they launch that they're going to add more apps to it, because that'd be pretty cool to have on here. Like, for instance, they're supporting gestures now.
Mhm.
So let's say this is one of the examples they use. If you put both of your thumbs up, like fireworks show up behind you, and it doesn't get rid of your background. It just dims out your background. It's still there, and then the fireworks show up. Or there's a gesture you do, and um, like, what is it called? Confetti shows up.
Mhm.
Like those little things like that are, I think they're very, very good.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely pretty neat.
All right, now the Vision Pro.
Yes,
People call it VR, but
it is not
it's more AR.
pretty
And the
much.
reason, however, the only reason that is actually VR in some instances is, let's say you are watching Netflix, and it'll put the screen, instead of taking over your whole face, it puts it on whatever you're looking at, which is the AR part. Like, it's like it becomes a projector. Let's say you're watching in front of your TV, but you
Mhm.
don't use your TV, so it shows up as like a 3D screen in front of you, and there's a dial on top that you can actually change the background of what you have in front of you.
Yep.
And it turns, let's say you want to watch Netflix in the Himalayas. I don't know why that's the first thing that comes in my head. But
It's definitely weird.
Yeah.
Dream big.
Yeah.
All right.
So it'll cover everything that you have in front of you, but
Oh
the
yeah,
screen
pretty
will
much.
still be there.
Oh yeah, no, it's cool in that ways you can set it up to block out a lot of the what's going on around you in in the real world, but then you can like you were saying, you can also tune that out. And what's cool about that, and I figured you were probably going to touch on this as well, is it's not just, and this is the cool thing about what they're doing with spatial computing. Is it's not just because, like you were saying, you can have that screen, like say in front of your TV if you're not using it. And what's cool about that is it's not like the screen itself is not moving with you when you turn your head. It's in that you can lock it in that spot. And so when you're
It'll
looking
have
off,
multiple apps.
right. And so and another thing that I thought was really cool was like if somebody comes up into your field of view, you can see them, and then like what they can see on the outside is really cool because like when you're occupied with something, like they can't see your eyes, but then when you go into their, like when they go into your field of vision, it kind of like it goes like opaque or something like that, and then you can kind of see they can kind of see your eyes, so they know that you're focusing on them. That's really cool.
It is not that it goes opaque. It's actually a screen that you have a camera facing your eyes.
Mhm.
So on the screen, it shows your eyes. It's not that the
Oh, that's weird.
the glass dims or it shows. It's literally a screen showing your eyes.
It's a
Like
projection, essentially,
pretty
almost.
much.
Pretty much. Yeah. So when somebody steps into your field of view and you're focused on something else, they can't see your eyes. But when you see them and you decide to turn your eyes and focus on them, that's when the screen turns to it projects your eyes onto the outside of that screen to basically let them know that you are focused on them and not the whatever it was you were focused on before.
One thing is you can take FaceTime calls on these and you can do presentations. However, it doesn't show you with the goggles because essentially that's what they are. They're like really big VR goggles.
Yeah.
What you do when you're setting up for the first time, the camera in front of it, you are pretty much scanning your face. And what it does is it creates a 3D render of you. Like if you're watching a CGI movie. And that's what they see on your FaceTime call.
I imagine this initial version of that probably won't be the best as far as quality, but successive versions will probably get significantly better.
It depends on how long they've been working on this because
That too.
if they started working on this 10 years ago and they've been perfecting it and they already had that crappy image before they launch it, because that's the thing about Apple, that they give us an iPhone every year, but there's barely any bugs in their new products. When there is bugs, like not even 2 days later, the day after it comes out, if there was bugs, there's already an update to fix those bugs. So I can see that it could be, like you said, it's probably not going to be perfect, but it's going to be close to.
Well, yeah, no, I imagine it's going to be fairly good. And obviously with them continuing, the development on this with successive updates, not necessarily like not necessarily with like new hardware generations. They could probably, they can do a lot with like software updates and things like that. So I could
Right.
I could imagine that it's going to get better throughout when they, continuing to work on the existing hardware.
Right.
So I'm chuckling a little bit because I put on the the 10-minute version of the introducing the Vision Pro. And I've been looking at it while you guys were talking. And I was very concerned about all of it just because it looks very like Black Mirror-ish, the concept, and it's kind of a little bit scary how fast we're moving, technology-wise. And I was like not sold on it, and then it shows that it just has a battery pack, so you're not really attached to anything big or anything of the
Right.
sort. And I was immediately sold. So that's how my mind works. It's like, oh, this is super concerning. Oh, but I can put it on my pocket and then keep walking.
Right. And one feature that they show is, or that they're going to use, is that you can actually buy things. Like
Yeah.
let's say you go on Amazon and you want to buy something and you want to use your Apple Wallet. Because I'm assuming that the only way that you can buy something through that is with your Apple Wallet, which perfect. It'll scan your eye to approve it. So if
See,
someone else,
that doesn't like give you the hippie-jeebies a little
no,
bit.
Not really.
no.
Oh,
It's not. Here's the
What's
thing.
isn't
Here's
it
the thing.
worse to scan your thumbprint?
Here's the thing. It's not the technology that we need to be worried about. It's the people behind it.
Right.
And
That too.
and that's just, yeah, it's the people behind it, and more specifically government entities and what they would use that shit for. That's the part where I lose faith, because there are a lot of nefarious individuals even within our own government. And yes, we're delving into shit that we probably don't even want to be talking about, talking shit about our government, because fuck you guys. But yeah,
But the difference is, what you're saying is that you're not talking about a specific party. You're talking about in general.
yes, as a whole, yeah.
And that's completely okay, because we're not picking sides. We're telling you exactly what we've seen in the past from everybody.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
So, but going into the whole retina thing and safety features and all that. One thing that Apple has always tried to do is keep their users safe, and there's never been unless they cover it up, but there's never been news out there saying the Apple users, their information was leaked or anything like that. There's been PlayStation, there's been Microsoft, there's been Amazon and big corporations, but never Apple, because they focus on that, and they're paying a lot of money for the safety.
Well, not just that, but the market share, like the market share that the other companies have are a fair bit higher between like Sony and Microsoft and Google and and those other platforms, and so they present a much more attractive target. And that's the thing, though. It's I see, people like to say, "Oh, you'll never get a virus on an Apple." Never say never, because when you, especially, when you get like a really talented, hacker and all that good stuff, on a given enough time, they'll figure it out. And yeah, they're good about getting updates to, to kind of to circumvent that and counteract that stuff. But still, like you can't say it'll never happen, because it's like you give those talented people enough time, and they will figure it out.
If you ever notice, Apple has never come out and say we are unhackable, because the moment you do that, you present a challenge.
That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Yeah. So that all these other companies, they have always presented themselves as unhackable. And at some point in their history, they've said it. And they stopped saying it because it happened. So
A sophisticated gentleman in the
I wanna
chat.
appreciate
Thank you
that.
for that.
And touching on that real quick. It's for what sophisticated gentleman is saying, we want to give our viewers not our point of view things. We want to present facts. We want to show both sides and let them choose. We're not here to tell you what to pick or what not to pick.
Pretty much.
You want to stay on PC? Fantastic. You want to do Apple? Fantastic. You want to do PlayStation, Xbox? We're all nerds. We love it all.
Oh yeah. And that's pretty much all we've ever been about. Like we're like it's diverse in that sense, and we don't generally take sides in like the tech wars or the console wars or things like that. Like I've from my perspective, like I said, the hang up for me with Mac is price. Is price to performance ratio based on what you're getting. How much am I having to shell out based on what I'm getting as far as performance? And for me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, I mean, the only person I've seriously ever given shit to because he was an Apple person was one of my former bosses. I won't get into that, beyond the fact that I hated his guts and he was a piece of shit, whatever, But
to be clear, it's not because he was an Apple user.
No, it was because he was an asshole and he just happened to have an Apple device. And it's like anybody else is usually just playfully giving people shit. Like, I mean, like the folks in the chat, like they honestly, yeah, they're poking fun at Android users, but I know it's not serious and I don't take it serious. And that's the thing though. Like we don't, in any aspect of what, whether it's tech or what have you, like we don't take sides in that respect. Just like we don't, the same reason we don't talk about politics and religion and all that stuff, because we don't take sides. As far as I'm concerned, they all suck.
Mm-hmm.
Period. That's as much as you're going to get out of me. All politicians are trash. Period. I don't talk about it. It's got no place in what we're doing. And that's one of the things that, especially within our own sphere, unlike on the Discord and the website and things like that, it's neutral ground. It's meant as a way for people to escape the tribulations, I suppose, of their daily life. And it's like nerd out with people that share like your interests in nerd culture and not drag politics or any of that other divisive bullshit into it. And that's something that I'm like very, very fucking adamant about, because I don't like seeing it. It's like, if you're going to try and bring that shit into our little corner of the internet, then as far as I'm concerned, you have no place here.
Right. No, and
that's the end of mine.
I agree with, that was the rant for today. I agree with you. However, let's go back to...
Wait, real quick. I feel like we should start rating Justin's rants. I do this at work. I'm a professional. I rate one of my boss's sassiness on a day-to-day level. They love it. We can make it funny. That's all I'm saying. Keep an open mind about it. Like,
sounds good.
Some days it's more passionate than other days.
Today
was very passionate. Yeah. Very good. 10 out of 10.
I was gonna say, give me a rating out of 10. Why not?
10 out of 10, dude.
I'm gonna take you out for a drink after that. I'm a little wet. With that being
you
said,
might want to get that checked out.
Yeah.
Let's go back on.
You need a doctor or some medication. I don't know, man.
Yeah, probably both.
Not yet. The Vision Pro. One thing that it tracks your eyes, right? However, it's everything with gestures.
Oh yes.
And you can add mouse and keyboard if you want.
Right.
But the best part is that you don't have to.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything.
I think that's what sold me.
Oh yeah, and that's the cool part about what spatial computing is becoming. And that's the thing though. Apple's doing this now, and like it's only a matter of time before other companies come out with it, and they're competing in this space, and that's what I'm looking forward to, because here's the thing, Apple's doing it really well, but I want to see other companies coming in and competing in that space, because what it also does, it not only does it drive innovation, but Better part, it drives the fucking prices down, hopefully. You know,
That's what I was going to touch on.
right. And that's what's so cool about it is like, you know, being able to control the whole thing with just, you know, movements, gestures, and your voice and things like that. That's super, super cool.
Right. And one thing is that $3,500 is hard to swallow.
Yes.
And I usually don't have a problem with that.
We know.
Oh, shit. The cat. But what I'm trying to say is, on your point, is that the reason it's $3,500 is because no one else is doing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They can put whatever price they want because they're the first ones and the only ones.
Absolutely. Right now. Yeah. Right now, they're the only game in town. And they're, you know, there are others that are kind of, I wouldn't say doing that to a lesser degree. Like there's some tech companies that have like glasses where you like can project like 120-inch screen, like connect it to like portable gaming consoles and things like that. I actually have some of that saved. I want to look into that. But like as far as like what Apple is doing, like there literally is at this point nobody doing what they're doing yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to see where this goes and what other companies can bring to the table as far as spatial computing. Like this is like the beginning of something really, really big. And they've definitely piqued my interest. But like you said, $3,500 is a tough, like a horse pill to fucking swallow, man. It's insane.
Agreed.
I have a question for Justin. As an Android user, is this something that you see yourself getting?
If the price was a bit more attractive, or I wasn't in the kind of debt that I was in, I would consider it. But that's the thing though. I've been more of an Android guy because of the openness of the platform and what you can do with it. And that's another part of what kind of put me off of Apple is how like locked down the platform has always been. And I understand to a point why, like how seriously they take user safety and data privacy and things like that. Like I get that. Like there's reasons behind it. So there's a trade-off there. Like you know, you can't have one thing without the other, I suppose, to a certain extent. And so I mean, yeah, I'm interested in it. I could see myself using it, but at this point, like the thing that's really holding me back, I think, is the price. It's especially at this point now with my finances, I absolutely cannot justify it.
So if price wasn't a, problem, you definitely would get this.
If price wasn't a factor and it was, say, if it was like maybe $1,500,
Mm-hmm.
I could see like if they had said $1,500, I probably would have been like, okay, you have my interest. This is something that I would definitely want to look into and you know just to see more of. So like I'm not against looking into Apple products. It's the price to performance thing that really has kind of held me back to really diving into their ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, one thing that Apple does is that they use their software called Toolkit, which is for developers. Anybody that's going to create an app for Apple has to use Toolkit, and they have to run their apps through Toolkit. That way, it runs anything. All the safety features to make sure that they're all good. There's not going to be any viruses. There's not, and all that. And just to make sure that they're completely compatible and that there's not, because if you think about it, there's always on Android, because I used to have Android, and there was apps that were third-party apps that kind of ran kind of weird and eerie.
Oh yeah,
because they weren't they were just apps created, boom, and launched. But with the toolkit, they make sure that it's not just the safety, but that they are compatible with their products. That way, they run as smooth as possible.
Oh yeah. Well, Google, I mean, Google does the same thing to a large extent, and they've clamped down on a lot of what you know developers are putting out because like you said, there were apps coming out all the time. It's like just churned out like day to day to day, and it's just like you couldn't tell what was safe and what wasn't. And so obviously Google had to clamp down on that at some point.
One thing that I want to touch on is going back to it tracks your eyes and all that.
Mm.
Let's say you're looking at the app that you want to open. It won't go to the app that you're looking at just because you're looking at it. You have to interact with that app.
Mhm.
Which is, I thought at first when I started watching, I was like, what if I happen to glance at something and it just clicks on it within the website that I'm looking at? I'm like, no, I don't want that, because what if I just happen to glance at it and now I lose everything that I was doing? You actually have to interact
Yep.
with it, use a gesture you need to do for it to pick up on what you want to do.
Oh yeah, and that's what makes it so cool, because then you can't like accidentally do something that you're looking at something that you're scrolling through stuff that you don't want, and then all of a sudden you accidentally click on something and add it to your cart when you didn't want to, or click on like a link that you didn't want to go to or something like that. You actually have to have like the gestures in place and be able to do it that way, and not just have like, oh, I look at this and then all of a sudden it just goes into this. Like I love how they have that protection in place.
Right. So all in all, if price wasn't a factor, give me a rating on the Vision Pro.
9.5.
Wow. And that is coming from an Android user. I agree. 9.5. I think that 10, it would be a 10 if it didn't have that price tag.
Even if it had a more attractive price tag, because this is the thing with me, and I'm pretty sure I've said this on another episode or two, is when it comes to, it doesn't matter if it's games, movies, tech, whatever, you will never see a perfect rating out of me, because that precludes the fact that that basically says, oh, that there's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing that can be approved, there's always something that can be made better. So it's like, it's one of those things where you can always elevate something to a higher degree. And so like literally the best thing you're going to see out of me is, like, if we're doing it out of 10, is a 9.5, or maybe a 9.8 or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, this honestly, yes, this besides price is something really good. And this is the thing, like I said, this is just the beginning of this, next generation computing. Like, who knows where this is going to go from here?
I hope it's something that doesn't die before it becomes a thing, because I am very intrigued with the concept.
Yes.
I'm very intrigued with the concept. I actually give the concept a 10 out of 10. But I'm with you with the 9.5 for the product. Two things that, Lola, what do you think?
I'm having conflicting feelings about this. It's very, like I said, it's very Black Mirror-ish, but it is a very cool concept. I would love to own one. But it's making me feel very uncomfortable, on just that sense of like, we're moving too fast. And I know I said that already, but it, again,
I understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with what you're saying. I think, to me, is the fact that we're moving this, it's not as fast as you would think, because here's my thought process. In the 80s, they made movies of things that we would be doing, such as flying cars. and this was like in the 2010s, and we're not there. We haven't even perfected self-piloting cars.
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving some things fast,
Mhm.
but I feel like with I think what is keeping us behind is the technology that we have.
Not just that, but infrastructure. Like
Right.
we literally don't we don't have like the full on infrastructure. Like you were saying, taking self-driving cars, like full on autonomous self-driving cars. You don't have to worry about anything. You basically can just fucking where you literally can fall asleep in the driver's seat without a care in the world. We're a while away from that because we don't really have the infrastructure on road basically what we need on roadways and highways and things like that to make it like 100% safe and effective and things like that to make it viable. So yeah, we're behind in that sense, but like in other aspects, we're a bit further ahead than what we thought. Because I mean, like you were saying, like this is literally what I think you made mention to Iron Man and what Tony Stark has and like Jarvis and all that stuff. Like it really looks like we're moving in that direction, and that is super cool.
I agree because it's something
Which
that
is
we saw in a science fiction movie, such as like back in the 70s
Mhm.
with Star Trek. We
Yep.
had Apple Watches in those shows. You can talk, you can do things with your watch, and in the 90s, the biggest thing that we had with watch was a calculator.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's yes, we are moving fast. Going touching on the infrastructure on self autonomous.
before you move
Go ahead.
forward, it's not just the fact that we're moving fast, is that we're moving fast, but the human psyche is still the human psyche.
Mhm.
And, again, if you watch like Black Mirror or iRobot or any of those like sci-fi movies, I feel like yes, there's science fiction, but also at the same time, what never changes, again, it's the human psyche, is the malice that comes with stuff like this, and people taking advantage and all that stuff. And even with like what's that show called, Altered Carbon, even with like just basically humans are staying stagnant in their mentality, but the technology is like moving really fast. Those two kind of don't combine, in my opinion. That's what makes me like, ugh, like we're moving too fast, guys.
I think I mean, yeah, there is a concern there, and I won't dismiss it out of hand because that's that's something that is definitely you know it's something that should be addressed at at some point in in certain forums. Because like I said, it's the people behind the technology as well, like the people in control, the guiding hand that wants to move you in a certain direction. Now we're getting into conspiracy theories. But yeah, no. And I think it's more to do also with that generational divide. Like your older generation is set on like the older ways, and the technology is moving further and further away from them, and they're understanding less and less. And so like some aren't sure about it, some are afraid of it, some are pissed off and all this stuff. And so you're seeing a lot of these different viewpoints depending on I for the most part how old they are. And yeah, it for me, I think it's more to do with with that generational divide.
My thought process is touching on what you just said, Lola, that the human mind and the psyche is
Mm.
stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to focus on that, we wouldn't move forward with technology because we would think, okay, people are not going to take it the way that it should be, so we're just going to stay here. And the creators of the internet probably already thought that, okay, eventually someone's going to do something that's going to be bad, but we need this to move forward.
Mhm.
So it's
I know, I know what you're saying, and again, I love the concept. I'm just saying, proceed with caution.
right.
True enough.
All right. So moving on from this, one thing that I forgot to talk about that is very, very important for these new products or software updates and things like that is the audio software that they're using on their um, AirPods.
Mm.
So they're updating their software to where if you are on a call on your AirPods, it'll pick up your surroundings, but it'll make them lower.
Mhm.
You can still hear them, but it'll put them down a little bit. However, if someone starts talking to you and you talk back, the software picks that up and raises their voice, but their background sound is still low. So that way you pay attention to what they're saying.
See, now that I can get behind.
Interesting.
And other thing is that the software slowly learns your how you listen to things. Let's say music is something that you're listening to loud. It'll always, every time you start a song, it'll be gradually, it'll go up. That way it doesn't break your ears. But
Mhm.
if podcast is something that you listen to and it's not always loud, it'll pick up that you're listening to a podcast and it'll automatically put the volume at what you normally put it on. So that's I think that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Another thing is that if you're listening to, also going back to when people talk to you, if you're listening to music and someone talks to you, and you respond to them and it hears you talking, it'll lower the volume of what you're listening to.
Mhm.
Their software right now is pretty advanced anyways, because let's say you have your AirPods on and you take one of them off, it picks that up because it has a sensor and it'll pause your music.
Mhm.
So it's so you don't miss anything. So I wanted to touch on that because that's something very advanced that we're getting in these devices. So do you guys have anything else?
It's an interesting time, and I'm
Oh yeah.
intrigued by some of what we saw in that presentation. So,
One thing that I'm actually very intrigued is that Apple didn't give us like really a lot of products. Usually they take this to give us the new iPhone and the iPhone 15, and they just added one more percentage of battery life. Just or to make us think that they're gonna add a headphone jack, but they don't. What they give us is a lot of updates for their softwares and making things better that we already have. Instead of giving us a new product with these updates, they're letting us update our own products, which then in 2 months they'll give us a new iPhone. Don't get me wrong. But
when was the most recent one released? Because I don't even remember.
they release a new one every October,
Gotcha. Well, there you go.
right?
Yeah,
And usually they talk about it on WWDC, but they didn't this time because they have bigger things. I think that they knew that if they talked about the new iPhone
Mhm.
with the Vision Pro, it would get lost in the mix.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it was a 2-hour presentation, and they focused at least 40 minutes on the Vision Pro.
Right.
And so they wanted to have as much attention on that as possible. And it
Right.
makes so much sense because of what it is and what it can do.
And going back to what I said in the previous episode, that I said that PlayStation released something new, but it's the one thing that they said, oh, we're releasing this brand new thing. It's not even for sale yet. And I said, Apple, every time they release something new, they put it for pre-sale. Everything that they announce, any products that they announce on here, except for the Vision Pro, was up for pre-sale as soon as the showcase was over.
Mm.
And it comes out next week. That's the thing about Apple, that because they release something new every year, new in quotations, they don't have to market it for a whole year because it's happening.
Well, yeah, pretty much everybody assumes it's going to happen, and they play it that way on purpose. They don't they're not going to announce something. They're not going to announce something until they're either ready to release it or, it's they
But
know,
it's fully
you
built.
know it's coming. So with the Vision Pro seems to be the only exception. So it's like it's coming out at the beginning of next year. So it's
And
like literally it's the only exception to it's like, oh, we announced
Right.
this and it's going to be available in a week.
I think the reason, because it's a brand new product. It's not a newer product of something.
Mm.
It's a brand new standalone product. So
Oh,
they have to get people behind it before they start. And
Now that makes perfect sense, and
Right.
it's pretty much the same way that most manufacturers do. Even with the video game manufacturers, like you had, Nintendo being a perfect example. You had the Switch was talked about a year and a half at least before it was before but not just before it was released, but before pre-orders even started.
Right.
And so everybody was talking about it, and speculations and rumors and leaks and all that stuff. Oh, my uncle who works at Nintendo, blah blah blah.
Right.
The usual shit. And that's the thing. That's what they want. They want the people talking because they want to drive interest in the product. They want people to buy it in the end.
Right. So exactly. All right. So if you guys don't have anything else, all right. So make sure that you go on our website, thenerdarchive.com. Lola and I were talking about something new that we want to bring to the website. Is that okay if I talk about it here, or is it something
If
that you?
it's about what I asked you earlier,
Yes.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. So she's going to add a list of the books that she's currently reading or she has read. And every time she starts a new one, she will add it to the list. That way you guys have a list of things that you would like to read. If you have any questions or about that book, you can always reach out to Lola. She will on her Instagram, to make sure you do that. And where can you find her Instagram, Justin? Down below with all of our stuff.
Well, no, dude, I know what you're trying to get. I know what you're trying to get me to do, but it's like, it didn't click at first because I'm like, wait, you're asking me what her Instagram is, and I completely forgot the name. But no, you're winding it around to try and get me to say click all the things.
There you go. We missed it last week.
Yeah, we did.
So with that
But it's
being
okay.
said, make sure you go and check our website, because we have the new Nerd Archive line on there of beautiful products with everything that we've created. All of our merch is created by us, and so and it's an awesome way to support us and help us bring you better um, shit. I almost had it.
To
We're not
bring
bringing,
bring
yeah,
you
we're
more
not bringing
content.
bigger, better shit. Just by
Yeah.
the way.
Bigger, better content.
every dime that we make on whether it's product purchases, donations, and things like that, there's going to be more ways to support the brand
and that coming soon, down the pike. But rest assured that every dime that we make on any of these services or products goes back into the channel and the brand and giving you a better and better product. So,
Yes.
do that damn thing.
All right. With that being said, thank you guys. You guys are fantastic. Make sure you stay connected with us and all of our social media. And Justin already said it, but say it one more time.
Click all the things down in the
All
description
right.
below.
See you next week.
Okay,
Peace.
bye.
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 Yeah.